Hello, I'm Mike McCulloch. So today I'd like to talk to you about the best way to do science. And like everything else in life, if you want to do something really well, you should look at those who've done it the best. And I guess the best in physics would be Isaac Newton. So I'd like to talk about possibly his best contribution to scientific method, which was the prism experiment. So before him, prisms, well, as you may know, when you shine a beam of light through a glass prism, sort of a Toblerone shape, you get projected onto the wall behind it a rainbow, a bit like this. Now, it was thought at the time before Newton that the prism was making the colours from the white light, and Descartes thought that, for example, and when he did the experiment, he actually saw, instead of an oblong on the wall, he saw a circle, because it was sunlight that he thought was causing the effect. But when Newton did it, he saw an oblong, which puzzled him for quite a long time. So, as shown behind me. And he realized that what was happening was that the light from the beam was being spread out by the prism. And he realized that prisms don't create colors, they separate them out, because different colors bend in glass to a different degree, and that white light, even though it looks very clean and pure, is actually a mix of all the colors. So that's all fine, and Newton was on a good track there. But he then did something that was very interesting. He did what's called an experimentum crucis. What he recommended was that one should do an experiment that will unambiguously determine which path should be taken. And so Newton did an experimentum crucis. What he did was he took the sunlight, the beam of light, passed it through a prism, and saw the colours come out at different angles. But then, to prove that his colleagues were wrong and that prisms do not make colours, he took one of the colours, so in this case blue, passed it through another prism and showed that only blue light came out. And this proves that prisms don't make colours. But not only that, he measured the angles at which each colour came out and determined that, yes, indeed, colours are bent differently by the prism, even after passing through two prisms. So white light is made up of all the colours, and each of the different coloured rays are differently refrangible or bend differently. And that's what he concluded. But he didn't stop there. I mean, that experimentum crucis is fantastic, and more of that sort of thing should be done. But he also applied his new knowledge. He realized that, okay, if prisms and by extension lenses differently refract different colors of light, then a telescope will also show what's called chromatic aberration around the edges. And that had already been seen, of course, but he explained chromatic aberration. And so he decided, well, he thought that instead of using a glass lens, he would use a reflector, a parabolic reflector. And so he invented the reflecting telescope, which didn't have the problem of chromatic aberration. So I think this is a perfect example of how science should be done. So you see an observation, you think about it, then you design an experiment that can test for it, and then if it works out, you propose some application of it. You really can't do better than that. And that was Isaac Newton, of course. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this historical short, and I look forward to making another one for you tomorrow. Goodbye.